Hi, and welcome to this week's Stellar Developer Meeting. Today I'm going to talk about Quickstart. So, what is Quickstart? Well, Quickstart is a local Stellar network environment. So, Quickstart is a Docker image that bundles Stellar Core with Horizon, RPC, FriendBot, and a database. And Quickstart can run locally as either a mainnet, testnet, futurenet, or a customizable local network. Quickstart is great for developers who want to test smart contracts, experiment with the Stellar network, and learn about Stellar's features in a controlled environment. And I can tell you that SDF engineers use Quickstart quite a bit. There are two different operational modes. There's ephemeral mode that cleans the database and startup with a default config at each startup. And then there's persistent mode that mounts a volume on your local machine and persists the database and the configurations. It's very easy to set up Quickstart. All you need is Stellar CLI and Docker installed on your local machine, and then you can use the CLI command Stellar Network Container Start to set up Quickstart on your local machine. In this case, we use the command to set it up as testnet, and when the Quickstart is set up, you can access testnet with these settings. After this presentation, I'm going to give a quick intro to how to actually use it in practice. And two ways to use it is to use Stellar Lab. You can connect Stellar Lab to Quickstart, or you can deploy a smart contract and you deploy it just like you're used to. First, you set up, in this case, we use the Hello World. You set up the smart contract, you create an identity, and you build the contract. And then you deploy the smart contract, but instead of deploying it to the testnet or mainnet or futurenet, you deploy it to your local Quickstart environment. In this case, we use the local host as the RPC URL to tell Stellar contract deployed command that we want to deploy it onto Quickstart. And once deployed, we can invoke the smart contract just like we're used to when we have deployed it to testnet or mainnet. I want to put a little bit of focus on the documentation here. If you want to know more in details how Quickstart works and how to set it up, you can go to our documentation, go to Tools, and go to Quickstart. Here you'll find all the relevant information you will need. You can read about how to get it set up, the network modes, how to work the FriendBot faucet, how to debug, and do some advanced settings that I'm not going to cover in this presentation. But let's try to set it up on my local machine. Okay, so here we have the terminal. First, if you remember, we can use a command from the Stellar CLI to set up our Quickstart. And in this case, I want to use a testnet, and I just name this Quickstart mainnet. And that was it. Now the Quickstart is up and running on my local system. So let's go ahead and build a smart contract. Actually, we'll use the Hello World example. And then we will need a user. Let's call this a different name that I have not used before. Call it Frank. And now let's Now let's build the contract. Okay, the Hello World smart contract is now built, and now we want to deploy it onto Quickstart. As mentioned before, we can here see that instead of deploying it to the actual testnet or mainnet, we specify the RPC URL here, and we use the localhost /RPC, and the rest is as we usually use when we deploy to testnet. Okay, so now we actually have the Hello World smart contract deployed to Quickstart. Next one, what we want to do is to try to invoke it. And let's use the contract ID that's given us here. And it was successful. So as you can see here, once we have set up Quickstart, we can deploy our smart contracts to Quickstart and run it locally instead of running it on the testnet or the mainnet, the public ones. And it works exactly the same way. Now let's try to connect Stellar Lab instead of using the terminal here. I have Stellar Lab in this window. And the way you connect it to your local Quickstart is you go up to the network selector here. And instead of testnet here, you choose custom. I have already tried this, so these fields are already populated. But the Quickstart URLs are localhost at port 8000/RPC for the RPC, and Horizon is just the localhost at port 8000. And the network phrase is the same as if we were using the public testnet. So let's switch to the custom network. So now Stellar Lab is connected to our Quickstart, and we can do everything we usually do when we're connected to either testnet or mainnet or futurenet. Let's just try to generate a key pair, and we can fund it with friendbot. So this works exactly like if you were connected to a testnet. One thing to notice here is that usually if you use testnet, you will get a link to Stellar Expert, so you can go and take a look at your user account there. Obviously, we can't do that because Stellar Explorer is not looking at our local Quickstart, but otherwise it works exactly like if we were working on the public testnet. I hope this little introduction to Quickstart was useful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can ask in Discord. I know there's a lot of Quickstart users in Discord as well. But hopefully this will give you a great tool to work with for these special requirements where maybe you want to use some logging. There's some great logging features with Quickstart. So go explore it, go go take a look at the documentation and see how this can be useful for you. Thank you for joining.